Hey friends, and welcome. My name is Dr. Heather Carton, and welcome to Ask Dr. Heather. Thursday nights is a time where we have a live Q&A time, which means if there has a question that you've been going, I wonder if that's true. Maybe something you've heard about the health and wellness or maybe the fitness area and you've just been dying to know if that's really true, or maybe you've just been waiting to ask a question. This is a time where you can join us live and ask that question. So a little bit about me, just if you're brand new to Ask Dr. Heather, I am the co-owner of Carton Center for Wellness in Overland Park, Kansas. We have been practicing alongside my husband, Dr. Ralph Carton, and we have been practicing for 25 years. We have a functional medicine style of practice. We have many tools in our pocket, but tonight we're going to start off with a little chat about heavy metals. It's been a topic that's been kind of resurfacing around because so many people are wondering, why am I feeling this way? I can tell you myself, Dr. Ralph hears this all the time. People say, I can't lose weight, or the doctors don't find anything wrong with me, but I still don't feel just right. I still have this pain, but everything they've checked, they haven't found anything wrong with me. And the word is yet because they're not looking in the right spot. So if you have questions, drop them down below. I cannot give medical advice, but hopefully I can help give some insight, help you be a better detective of maybe that you can something you can take back to your healthcare provider. But heavy metals have been going on for a very long time, but the more that we industrialize, the more that we deplete our soils and things that help absorb some of the heavy metals in the air, the more that our bodies are going to absorb some of those, and the more that we have a higher rise in obesity because we do store heavy metals in our adipose or fat cells, the more that we're going to see this topic get hotter and hotter. So as you're joining, let me know you're joining from. I won't keep you very long tonight. These are generally pretty brief topics because we generally get on one hot topic that we generally start talking about. But heavy metals we're exposed to from many different areas. It can be from things that you breathe in, from emissions from automobiles, to industrial plants around you, to paints that maybe are on your house, or toxins in maybe the carpet that you're surrounded with, from the floors. Maybe you had your floors resurfaced, or the carpets are made out of some type of liner. Maybe it's old housing that you live in. It can be piping that your water comes through. Lead can actually peel off of that, to cosmetics that you put on your face, or products that you put on your body, to even softeners that you use on your skin. So we're exposed to them in so many different ways, to even if you're wearing cheap jewelry, whether it's necklaces, earrings, watches, electronics that people wear on their bodies, sleep with them, from batteries. I have a whole list of things, but maybe I should take a jump back. But every single day we are exposed to a small amount of chemicals. Our body should naturally detox. However, we've been exposed habitually over time 24/7, and our body just can't get them detoxified through the normal process. So small bits accumulate over time. This is not to be confused with having an acute heavy metal toxicity reaction or having acute heavy metal poisoning, which you would know if that happened if you had Durano or something like that. This is things we're exposed to every day throughout our life, and it happens to accumulate to a point where our body just can't get rid of it, and it comes to a point where we start getting symptoms where we aren't feeling well. So I'm going to give you a few symptoms of what happens when your body does get depleted of essential minerals or have heavy metal toxicity. So this may be something that maybe you've been to your doctor about, or maybe been thinking that maybe this could be something that's going on with you. And so I'm going to read these questions, then we'll talk about how you could get them, how you can get some testing done, and how you could actually eliminate having them even build up in your life each and every day. So this is we're going to talk about this. So again, let us know where you're joining from. So hello, Tammy from Tennessee. Nice to see you here. Victor and Deb, nice to have you here as well. So who might be someone who might want to have some heavy metal testing done, or maybe thinking that you could be exposed to heavy metals? Someone who is actually knows they've been exposed to heavy metals, like you work in a salon, you work in an industrial plant, maybe you work on a road crew, something that's very obvious like that. Or someone who has alopecia, your hair is falling out and you have no idea, there's no genetic factor for it. You're having bone density problems because we know that heavy metals will actually leach the minerals out of the bone and displace it with some other heavy metal, something like lead or mercury or cadmium, and we'll talk about where those come from. Also, cardiovascular disease is actually related to heavy metals. Dermatitis, having skin irritations, little papular spots on your arms, your legs, your skin, having rashes that are some unknown cause, or not a bacteria, they're not a virus, they're not a yeast issue, they're not related to a parasite, they're not a food allergy, but having some type of wound that will not heal, or some type of patchiness that just won't go away. Chronic fatigue, and it's not viral related, that's been ruled out, you've had viruses checked, but just am tired all the time, can't seem to, even when you sleep enough, you're still tired, because those heavy metals are weighing down within the cells, and the cells can't function like they should, and it's just slowing them down, causing that great fatigue, which causes a mineral shift, and the minerals are really what drive our body, and it forces the electrolytes to be off, which are essential for our body, which causes extreme fatigue. GI symptoms, GI issues. Rita will talk about that in just a minute. So GI issues, we know that when you have heavy metals or heavy metal toxicity within your body, that's not acute poisoning. This is accumulating over time. Your gut can be a mess. It can lead to SIBO, leaky gut, and these heavy metals can actually be in foods that you're eating. You actually put foods in containers and plastics, you microwave them, you heat them up. You can have artificial food colorings, additives, all those things. Then you put them in a microwave and heat them up, or in a Teflon pan that has been scratched. You heat those up, you eat those. All those things are going to get inside your body. Yes, your body should naturally eliminate them. However, there gets a point where they just keep layering and layering and layering, and they build up to a point where they begin to get toxic within your body. Chronic inflammation that just can't get figured out. You've had food allergy testing done, and that's not it. You've had inflammatory markers done. You've ruled out rheumatoid arthritis. You've ruled out other type of psoriatic arthritises. Those have all been ruled out. There's no Lyme's disease. Next thing you need to look at is heavy metal toxicity. Maybe there's some kidney dysfunction going on. You're having markers that tend to be off. You're like, well, that's normal for me, but maybe it's not really normal for you. Maybe you do have some heavy metal toxicity that no one's just actually looked at to see if that's a potential. There's Parkinson-like issues or neurotoxins. We look at things like MS, Parkinson's, other things going on in your brain. We know things like toxins like NutraSweet, sucralose, some of those artificial sweeteners. We also know that those neurotoxins like heavy metals like cadmium, mercury, arsenic, those things actually can lead to neurotoxins within your brain. And we get those from things like, being exposed to gasoline. Maybe you work around a farm and you're exposed to fertilizer. Maybe you work around a garden and you're exposed to fertilizer. Or maybe you work on a farm or a garden or a plant somewhere where you're filling your car full of gasoline. Maybe you are a painter. Maybe you work in a nail salon, because I just can't stand the smell when getting your nails done or getting your hair done. All that smell happens, maybe you work next door to one, or maybe there's so many things. You can work in a school and you can have all those cleaners that are actually very toxic to your body every time they're cleaning the toilets and the chalkboard. I guess I don't have chalkboards anymore, but all those cleaners can actually build up within your body. So it can be anything from a low level. You could breathe in, you eat in, again, you're putting on your body, from cosmetics to hair products, to you sleeping in your mattress, from the dryer sheets that you're actually drying your sheets on, to mattresses being very old, things accumulating from in those, to your carpet, to you can look up and Google and find a lot of information on heavy metals, but the top 3 heavy metals that are most abundantly found within our body that cause most pollutants like headaches and migraines and some of those neurotoxins we're talking about are cadmium, lead, and mercury. And they become most toxic. And you simply have them tested by doing the proper testing. You can have a blood test done called a Melissa test, but the best way that we found to do that is doing a heavy metal and a mineral element test, because your body will displace the minerals for the heavy metals and they'll hold on to them. For example, your body will actually hold on to zinc and will displace the zinc and hold on to another heavy toxic metal, because they look very similar, like on the chemistry periodic table of elements. But it's something that should be checked. If you say, I did grow up on a farm, or I did work in this environment, or I do have some of those symptoms you talked about and no one's been able to find those out, you can do a 24-hour urinalysis collection. And it's a simple test to be done. You collect your urine for 24 hours. You do a challenge test to try to push out the heavy metals. So I'm not going to go into deep of how the testing can be done, but you simply can do it either blood or through urine to see if you do have a heavy metal toxicity. I'll post those graphs maybe maybe tomorrow morning when I'll get those downloaded and post what those look like so you can see. But just want to let you know that it could be a possibility of something that maybe that hasn't been figured out why your health isn't quite where you want it to be. It can be industrial exposure, water pollution, food, medicines. We've all drinking water or something out of a plastic bottle. We've all probably had something out of a tin can, like a soda or a beer or alcoholic beverage. So anything out of a metal can, tin can, foods out of a metal or a tin can, any of those type of things that all leaches into your body and get stored into our fat cells and into our body can cause enzyme dysfunction. It alters our body's metabolism, so it can cause insulin and glucose metabolism problems, leading to some type of diabetes, even having your sugar handling problem gone, imbalanced nutritional deficiencies, hormonal imbalance, neurotoxins to your brains. They even go as far to say it can cause cancer, which we've all heard of. Those toxic elements can actually cause some type of cancer. We look for that all playing different roles at different rates in different people's bodies, depending on how much exposure, over what period of time, how your body methylates and how your body detoxes and get rid of things. Our body does naturally detox and get rid of things, kind of like we were exposed to cold or flu. If you've ever had food poisoning, your body gets rid of it either through throwing up or having diarrhea, or if you ever had a reaction to like Benadryl, or maybe had a, I'm sorry, not Benadryl, but had a reaction to like an antibiotic, or maybe poison ivy, your body has a rash and it gets rid of it because your exposure is over. Well, with heavy metals, we're keep getting exposed to them, again, environmentally and through our foods and through our skin, so we're never having a break from it. So it accumulates and causes these neurotoxin-like reactions in our brains, within our bodies, hormonal imbalance at the cellular level. So that's when you stop, get the proper testing done, and then with the proper healthcare provider or healthcare professional, they can actually do the proper testing and help teach you how you can minimize your exposure, and then how you start chelating and getting those minerals out. You know, we talk about, somebody just mentioned teeth. Yes, absolutely, through silver amalgam fillings. There's so much information about root canals and so much information about silver fillings leading to some of the heavy metal toxicity that is absolutely valid and backed by research. So how do you reduce your exposure to heavy metal? So check your cosmetics. Make sure if you're wearing sparkly makeup that has metal flakes in it, stop that right away. Stop buying foods in metal and tin containers. So if you're buying any of your produce foods that you have in tin containers, buy them in glass or buy them frozen in boxes. Check your deodorant for aluminum. That's one of the big things. You'll actually see things that are aluminum or alum free. So buy your deodorant, or just stop using deodorant and let your body sweat naturally. Or you can use some type of powder or cornstarch if you'd rather do that. You know, a lot of people go as far to say get the silver amalgam fillings out and use some type of composite fillings on your teeth, because that can actually leach. Make sure that you're not eating shellfish and excessively. Again, this is tons and tons of seafood. This probably doesn't affect anybody in the Midwest. And you know, eat organic when you can, because there are a lot of toxins that are coming out from some of those farms that are actually above ground farm. I'm trying to select my words not to get in trouble here, that are non-organic farmers that are overproducing foods and actually trying to super produce foods, so they're becoming abnormally large because you pay per pound when you buy produce. So they're actually giving them mega fertilizers, which are not natural. When you see these apples that are this big, or a tomato that is this big, you know that's abnormal. How do you get that abnormal? Because they're feeding it fertilizer that's not natural, and it's going to have some type of, again, maybe cadmium or some type of lead or nickel or chromium or arsenic. Could have something in the fertilizer causing it to have that type of growth spurt. So you know that's not natural. Whenever it's grown in nature in your backyard, when you grow your own tomato or your own peppers, that's probably how it should look in nature. So remember, tonight is a live Q&A. So if you have a question, pop one down. So Rita's asking about products to help alopecia. So first of all, Rita, you have to find out what the cause is. Is it hormonal? Is it genetic? Is it perhaps from a yeast issue? Is it from a viral issue? Is it from stress? Is it adrenal stress? So there's not just one product to help with that. First of all, you have to find out what the cause is. And over my 25 years of practice, I've found alopecia has been at several different causes. So number one, find out what the cause is. If it's not genetic, then you have to just start doing a really good health history and finding out what the cause is, when it happened, what it's around. Was it when you gave birth, or did you happen to have some type of other infection co-infection going on? Did you have some type of mono, Epstein-Barr, or any type of yeast issue going on? Or is it a food allergy? Or is there a deficiency of hydrochloric acid in your stomach where you can't break down proteins and collagen because you make hair from protein and collagen? Have you had an eating disorder that's caused your body to be nutritionally deficient in that? Is there some type of food allergy causing you? So there's not just one product for alopecia. I'm sorry to say, we've got to find what the cause is, and that really goes for any type of healthcare concern that's out there. So I'm sorry I don't have one quick answer for you, but that's really how we attack everything, and really how your doctor should attack it. When you go in with fatigue, they should have a differential list. They should ask some really hard questions to say, where and when and how did it start? When did you start first noticing it? You know, at what point do you remember feeling really, really good in your life or having none of these concerns? And go back to that spot and you ask yourself the same question. When did you feel that you had abundant energy, all the energy you wanted, that you could actually stay up all night and not pay for it the next day? So heavy metal, so a low white blood cell count, yes, you could absolutely have a heavy metal toxicity, could absolutely lead to a low white blood cell count. So could a chronic virus if you have Epstein-Barr that's latent in your body, which can be reactivated. If you have a chronic yeast infection, again, something like that, a pathogen that your body, because we make white blood cells out of folic acid and B12. So if your body is low on B12, if you're not able to break it down, every time we have a carbohydrate, we have to use B12. Our stomach secretes B12. If we have a lot of stress in our body, we use B12. So if you're deficient in B12, or you don't have a lot of folate, or you're not methylating properly in your liver, it can make you deficient in those elements that you need to make white blood cell count. The great thing is when you fast for 72 hours, your body actually makes new white blood cell counts. So it'll drop and then your body will make new ones. So there's some amazing benefits. And I have more of that on videos when I talk about fasting, that at certain points when you hit that 72-hour mark, your body recycles and makes, not only does it increase growth hormone, it increases our body's our own HCG, so you're increasing human growth hormone. You also recycle those white blood cell counts, which is so important at that time frame. So hopefully that helps answer that question as well. Claire, restless legs, so that can be a mineral deficiency for sure. It could be heavy metals as well. It could also be adrenal stress. So we have a product we called, I think, what's it called? Legs on Edge. It can be when you have a low potassium or high potassium, low sodium differential on your CMP. That would lead us to say there's more adrenal issues. I'd maybe take an Epsom salt bath. If it's a regular size tub, do maybe a half a cup of Epsom salt in a regular 6-foot tub. If you have a spa tub, you can do 1 to 2 cups of Epsom salt. If you take an Epsom salt bath and you have restless legs before you go to bed and it helps it, then you know what? You have a mineral or a pH issue. Now, if it doesn't help it, then we know we've got to look elsewhere. So but that's a first way just to check yourself at home, say, you know what, maybe it is a mineral deficiency, Epsom salt bath. I'd start to say, gosh, is there anything else going on? Any blood sugar in issues? Are you having any bowel issues? So we need to dig a little bit deeper. But for restless legs, generally find it's an adrenal issue and a mineral deficiency. I would say at least 75 to 85% of the time. So we give an adrenal multivitamin, and then we do what's called Legs on Edge. It's a restless leg formula to help calm down the restless legs. We see a lot of women who've had 2 or 3 pregnancies or 3 or 4 pregnancies. Your body gets deficient minerals, actually causing that. So great question. Thanks for asking that. So as you're joining, this is just our time that we just sit and have a chitty chat on Thursday nights, a live Q&A time, just to help you better understand. Maybe there's a question you've gone, I wonder what's happening in my body. I wonder if that's normal. Should this be happening or not be happening? I've heard this or I heard that when I was at a ball game, and I wonder if that's really true or is this really trending? So this is just a time for you to pop in and ask a question. So we try to do this about every Thursday night. I generally pop on while Dr. Ralph is walking our dog Danny, and they are actually back, but I have been getting some questions on heavy metal. You can also test heavy metals by doing hair analysis. When you do a hair analysis, it has to be back of the hair, the nape of the hair, where there's no coloring, there's no perming or anything like that. You have to get the new hair like at the back of the growth, or at the growth right through here, where it's brand new baby fresh hair. That's also a very valid test to do when you use a valid company. So you can also do it that way, but you can I like a blood test and I like a urine test as well. 24-hour urine test, I think, is probably my favorite test to do for heavy metals. So leaky gut is absolutely reversible, Tammy, and you can reverse it very, very quickly. So number one, you cut out all processed foods. All processed foods, and cut out the top 10 allergens. So that would be the top 8 allergens. That would be dairy and also an all gluten in the gluten family, shellfish, mushrooms, soy, cut out those things, and probably peanuts, just cut those things out. What happens is our stomach should all be nice in a straight form. So what happens with leaky gut is that we get foods and irritants down there and the gut villi get open and those things get down inside our gut issues. When you fast for 12 to 14 hours, and that you can do fasting every day at this time frame and eat in a if you eat in an 8-hour window, you're fasting 16 hours every day. When you fast past 12 hours, your body actually starts to close those villi shut. So when you actually fast 16 hours a day and eat in an 8-hour window, or better yet, eat in a 6-hour window, those gut linings are actually going to close each and every day. Within 11 to 14 days, that gut lining, like a snake, kind of peels over. It actually turns over, and it's going to actually help heal that leaky gut. So with leaky gut, type 2 collagen specifically, and hyaluronic acid. So the keto better broth I love for using that, because ketones provide more oxygen to the intestine, and it's going to give more. Again, the type 2 collagen, hyaluronic acid is just a winning recipe to help with leaky gut and SIBO. Ketones help take away the leaky gut I used to have. So what happened is, when you're using ketones, because you're taking away sugar, sugar causes inflammation, which can lead to leaky gut. Ketones also take away craving. So if you're eating less sugar overall, which means you're going to reduce the inflammation, that sugar's irritating. Sugar absolutely irritates leaky gut when you're eating processed foods. We know a ketogenic diet, ketogenic lifestyle, you actually dramatically reduce the amount of sugar and processed foods you're eating. You're going to have a win-win there. That's why ketones, a ketogenic diet, actually help reduce having a leaky gut. So I think Sandra's in on that conversation. Tammy's in on that conversation. So I love it when people chime in here. So you can absolutely reverse leaky gut. Clean up the diet, start intermittent fasting every single day, but make sure that you're getting all your nutrients that you need in that time frame. That doesn't mean it doesn't mean stop eating. Make sure you're eating at least 2 to 3 healthy meals. So you're getting in your proper nutrients, your above ground greens, your healthy fat, and your protein within that 6 to 8 hour window. Outside that window, make sure you're drinking plenty of water. You can have your exogenous ketones, you can have your electrolytes, you can have tea and coffee plain, as long as you're not going to overstimulate or over caffeine, but make sure you get plenty of water in, and that will absolutely help with that leaky gut. And if it doesn't, then there can be an underlying virus or underlying yeast infection going on. I know I keep referring to yeast infection, but a lot of people fight a Candida infection and they have no idea. So the best thing to do is you can go online. I'll post this probably. I've got several videos on Candida albicans, but it's found in a lot of people. Stick out your tongue if it's white and pasty and green, and you know that you always got something in your throat, or if you know you have toenail jam, I guess it's called, right? Junk in your toenails, then you know you probably have some type of Candida, gas, bloating, or you're craving sugar. Even if you have a beautiful steak and salad and you're like, man, I want something just sweet, that is a sign that you may have Candida albicans or a yeast infection. So yes, Sandra, great. Let us know what you think about your meals. Thumbs up. All right, friends, I think that's all the time we have for tonight. So thanks for joining me. I hope I brought some insight. I will post some graphs tomorrow when I actually open my computer back up. I'll post some graphs of what the heavy metal testing looks like on a urine analysis. And you do have to have a healthcare professional actually interpret that. Just because it's high or low, you actually have to know what you need to chelate or what you need to help detox first, because you can do it incorrectly. You can chelate, you can draw those out too quickly and too fast, and you can actually get symptoms made worse. You have to do it slowly. And with that being said, they are stored mostly within our fat or adipose cell. Each fat cell has about 170 toxins. That's 170 toxins in there. So with the toxins, you also lose minerals, you also lose nutrients. So you've got to make sure you're replenishing that ratio with having some other just simple blood work done along with that. So you know, work with a healthcare provider once you get that information to find out really what's the bottom going on with your health. So this is Dr. Heather Carden wishing you better health, and we'll be checking in with you tomorrow. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.